Hello, community. I am inspired to talk to us about something today that has been running through my mind in the past few days. I see a lot of people have been complaining, particularly because of the lockdown and lots of jobs, opportunities, and all of that. And people are busy complaining and wondering how life will be after and all that. And it just suddenly occurred to me that we're having not the right attitude because there's something that I often say to myself, or I would say to you, when things are going bad wherever it is that you live, reside, and all of that, look around you. Even if the economy is so bad, there are people who are buying new cars in that economy, building or buying houses in that economy, and for whom things are working. And so the thing to do is to say to yourself, things may be bad. Take yourself out and say, so, but not for me. Make up your mind to be among those for whom things will be okay. Because indeed and in reality, there are those for whom things are truly okay. And how do you go about this? See, you have to have the right attitude. There's a particular story that I like to draw from. Is from the Bible, the book of Exodus, chapter 15. And in that particular story, there's a lot to learn in it. Now, the children of Israel had just come out of the promised land, and they had gone into the wilderness for some days, and they were without water, very, very, very thirsty. And then they came upon this water. Out of excitement, they ran there to drink, water at last. But what happened? Alas, the water was bitter. And so, they were really, really, really disappointed. And then they started complaining, crying. And I can understand and empathize with them because indeed, you have just come out of, wherever it was, where the land of Egypt, and things are, how do I put it? You've gone through the wilderness. Finally, here's hope. It's like an oasis in a desert. You see water and then you rush to it and you don't get it. What a disappointment. And so they started grumbling and murmuring. And what did their leader do? And that's Moses. He realized at that point that, yes, things may be difficult. There's no water, they can't go back to where they're coming from. Obviously, it's too far. They don't know where they're going to get water again. So it's like almost like a hopeless situation. But at moments like that, the first thing you do is calm down and look up. And what did he do? He cried out to God. And crying out to God can be so many things. Digging deep into your inner recesses, looking up to the Almighty God, or just trusting your experience, your intuition, and all of that to guide you at a moment like that. Because when you panic, it's not going to help any. Okay? So he looked up to God. And then at that point, God showed him a tree. That tree, as soon as he cast it into the water, by the way, the water was called Mara because it was bitter. So which means it had a reputation for bitterness. As soon as he cast it into the water, it became sweet. Now, what are the lessons in this? First of all, that tree had always been there. The bitter water had always been there. And if you care to look, you would see carcasses and skulls and skeletons of people who had died by that waterside because of thirst, and because they grumbled and murmured and didn't know what to do. Whereas the solution to the problem was always there. It was always beside the problem. And so when you're confronted with issues and you're confronted with problems, calm down. Look around you. The solution might just be right there beside you. You don't need to look too far. The tree was always there. Okay? If Moses had joined his people in crying, of course they would have died there. Crying would not have helped. Disappointment would not have helped. But they realized one thing. Within the word disappointment is appointment. And so what is it? You could have lost a job. And if you have lost a job, it just simply means, and that's the interesting thing about a door. As the door closes on one side, it is actually opening on another side. Okay? So you go through a door, open it, and you shut it. If you leave employment, it's not the end of the world. If you're fired, as a matter of fact, I say to people, if you have a very kind landlord, you will never be a homeowner. Sometimes you need to be kicked out of your comfort zone. If you have a very, very good boss or employer, very kind, you would never be a business owner because you'll be too comfortable. And so sometimes adversities are beneficial. Sometimes you need to be kicked out of your comfort zone to realize the potentials that you have. It's like throwing someone into water. At that moment, you know, even if you couldn't swim before, by the poolside, that if you must survive, you have to find a way to swim out of that water. And in the process, you pick up some swimming skills. There's a lot that resides in each of us. Like the tree by that bitter water, there are opportunities that abound. As we go through difficult times like this, while some are complaining that things are difficult, business is down and all that, calm down. Open your eyes. If you're a retailer, a fashion designer, or a garment maker, does that not present opportunities for making the kind of clothes that are in demand at the moment? Medical clothes, face masks, and the things that are in demand at this moment. Doesn't that present opportunities for it? Of course, you can see that all the pharmaceutical companies right now are thinking about solutions to the COVID virus, for instance. And so when there's an epidemic, rather than complain, it presents opportunities. Because you see, to succeed in business, you have to meet a need. If there is no need, then there is no business. Okay? And so when problems come, your attitude makes a difference. What did Moses do? His attitude was not to complain. His attitude was to draw from inner strength and to draw from a higher power. And that's what he did. He looked up to God, and at that moment, God opened his eyes and showed him the solution. Sometimes, when things go bad, it's not a time to complain. It's time to calm down, get into deeper reflection, tap into your source. And I'm talking about God. I have no apologies about that. Look up to him and trust him to guide you. And he'll show you that tree, which if you cast into your bitter waters, will become sweet again. And so whatever it is you're going through right now, look around you. You know the story of Moses also, and that's one of the things I'm sure that he drew from. When he came to rescue the children of Israel, he didn't know how he could do it. But the Lord said to him, "What do you have in your hands?" And he said, "The rod." That was enough. What do you have in your hands? Let's look at the greatest footballers in the world today. What it is they use is not outside of them, it's inside of them. Their feet. That's all. It's right with them. Sharpen those skills and you're there. The greatest musicians, their voices. Okay? Look around you. What you need is not outside of you. What you need to succeed is right inside of you. What you consider a weakness could actually be a strength. It could be cooking that you're good at. People like how you cook. You know, when what's his name now? The founder of KY, Colonel Sanders, yes. When Colonel Sanders retired, he had left the army, and at that time, that's a retirement age. He could have just gone and retired like his friends and just be collecting pensions and wait for death. But no, he suddenly realized that there was something he did that people would usually enjoy, and that he knew how to make good chicken. And so he went back to it. He started making it, and today, you and I love the Kentucky Fried Chicken. Now, that came out of a man's hobby or pastime. He was in the army, retired as a colonel. Okay? But he could have just gone into retirement. He had left his, I mean, he was no longer working and all, but no. What is it you can do very well? You'll be shocked. What is that thing you can do very well? Look at yourself. What is that thing people always come to ask you about and say, can you do this for us? Or they keep coming to do for, and you do for people free all the time. They keep coming to you to say, like, if it's in Nigeria, there's this hair do that women have is called gele. There are people who do it, they do it free. People come all the time and say, you can monetize it. Is it talking? People enjoy hearing you speak. You can make money from it. Okay? What, I mean, just name it. What do you do well? That could just be the key, or if you like, the tree to sweeten the bitter waters in your life. And so at moments of adversity, remember, look around for opportunity. What do people need? Secondly, draw strength from yourself. I mean, look at the skills that you have at hand and find out what it is that people enjoy, from you, that you enjoy doing most of all, and that people keep asking you to do for them. Okay? And if you're able to meet needs with that thing that you do, then obviously you can make money out of it. And so quit complaining. It's time to look inwards. Challenge yourself. If you're retired, I'll say to you, refire. Get up. That thing you know how to do well, and go out there and start making money out of it. If you have not subscribed to this channel, I want to encourage you. Please subscribe with us to continue to get messages like this. And while you're at that, hit the notification bell as well. And so you'll be the first to hear when we come to you with our videos.